So hey guys, and welcome to another episode of MGC. Today you join me on another episode with my W202. If you guys have not followed this series, I highly recommend you check out my playlist on the Benz Revival. But we have actually reached this point now where I've done a lot of work to this car. This car sat for a while, it needed a bunch of things, and now I wanted to give you an update since my last update. Basically a few things that I have changed and how the car is running right now. So if I just give you a quick brief overview, there's a lot of parts in this car that I have gone through because it sat for a while and it needed those parts. From MAF sensors to brake pads and those kind of small things, to bigger parts like the coolant reservoir, a fan temperature switch, bunch of different hoses. And I also got a lot of parts on the suspension taken care of. I actually got the lower thrust arms. I got those replaced. I got the drag link, which is basically it comes as a single unit, including the tie rods. So I got that piece replaced. And I also got lower ball joints replaced. So a lot of the stuff on the underneath of the car. Basically, when I would drive this car at the start, before all these things were done, it felt very loose. It didn't feel tightly put together. Some of these parts had worn out, and they definitely needed replacement. So lower ball joints and a bunch of those other things, the tie rods. And so recently what happened is I noticed a small little coolant leak, basically coolant leak from my water pump. And being this a 25-year-old car, I said, all right, why don't we go ahead and replace that water pump, put in some fresh coolant in there as well. And during the same time, I thought, why don't I also do the bushes for the control arms? Because what I would notice is the car on the front end, it felt very grounded on the road. Any rock, any imperfection on the road, I felt it come straight through the steering column, straight through into this interior. So I thought I needed those bushes. And so I'll show you the parts that I replaced so we can have a look at those and how worn out they were. But I got the water pump replaced and I got those control arm bushings replaced, which made a huge difference actually. Now this car, with all the components that I replaced with the suspension and now these parts, this car feels so solid on the road. So solid, almost like a brand new car. Turning, bumps, whatever. Alright, so I just wanted to show you some of those parts that we replaced and how worn out they were, because as I mentioned, changing those parts out, the car now drives a lot more solid. Those control arm bushings were very much necessary, and I do know that I'll have to do a few more things to this vehicle for the ride. There's an upper control arm and the lower. I believe I'm going to need the upper ball joints because I had replaced the lower ball joints, but I'm still getting a bit of clunking. So I think those are now the upper ones that need to be replaced, but I don't really want to get to that immediately. I've done a few things to the car for now, and it can remain where it is. As you know, this is a progressive restoration. It's already been a year and it'll probably be longer, but eventually we will get there. So let me just show you the parts. Alright, so the first part that we want to look at is the old water pump, which actually looks pretty damn worn out. So this is the old pump. Don't think you can see much, but I mean it rotates alright. But as you can see, it was having a bit of leakage and 25-year-old part. So I figured why not just replace it, and I'll show you the new one inside the engine bay. Let me just show you the bushes now. So here's another quick look at that old water pump. As you can see, does look like a 25-year-old part, and not to say that there's really any issue if something looks like this, but it was leaking, and when it begins to leak, and as I figured 25 years old, why not put a new one inside? So let me just show you the new one now, and then we can see how that looks in the engine bay, and also it's performing very well. So And as I figured out, you know, I always go with genuine parts. So this is an original from the vehicle. This is a Meili, straight from Germany, water pump. And as you can see, I replaced it with an original piece, because I figured if the original piece lasted 25 years, you might as well just put another original inside and have a lot of worry-free motoring. So original piece gone inside. So here they are. Here are the bushes that we got done. Basically control arm bushings, and you know, 25 years old again. This, as you can see the cracks in there. So there is some wear in there, and I can definitely say the new bushes, the ride is a lot smoother. I feel less of the road. The car feels very solid, you know, no play whatsoever. So those are the old parts. So here's a little look at my 202. I do believe we've come a long way with this vehicle. So if you guys have followed along, you know where we started, and I think you can agree with me. This is a really good looking vehicle, you know, back from that era of the W140 and the others. But this design language was something that is just timeless. I mean, this looks like a modern car to me, and it still turns heads. Absolutely every time I drive it, people are still looking at it, wondering how it looks so new. But a lot of work has gone into this, so I want to show you the little changes I made to that engine bay. So as you can see, I also grease all the latches, so nothing sort of seizes up on me. But this coolant reservoir was changed out, and as my water pump was leaking, I was seeing my coolant level was lower than I expected every single time, and I was filling it up. So as you can see now, it's maintaining a level, no changes whatsoever there. The silver part is our new water pump. If we can just look into that. I have also noticed my alternator makes a bit of a buzzing sound every now and then, so that might be on its way out, but we'll get to that later. For now, brand new water pump, looks fantastic. Let's check the condition of the oil. And as you can see, the oil is silky clean, not bad at all. Considering how this vehicle has treated me, and I'm just going to talk about the vehicle a bit now, and what I've been doing with it for the last month or so, and how it's been. Alright guys, so for the last month or so, I have been daily driving this, absolutely daily driving, and I also do a bit of driving up country, and I've been taking this car with me. So, you know, it's a manual gearbox. I've been revving the crap out of it. You know, downshifting, getting through traffic, flying around town, and this thing is handled like an absolute brick. I mean, so solid. I'm actually very surprised it's held up so well after 25 years, and that probably has to do with the bunch of parts that I have already replaced on this vehicle. But you know, I wanted to take this through, you know, as if I daily drive it every single day, and how would it hold up. And this last month has taught me that this vehicle is in very good condition, and it's held up very well. If you treat these well, they treat you well. And you know, the suspension components on this vehicle are so rugged, you'd be very surprised. I mean, I know how Nairobi roads are. I know how some of the roads when you go up country are. You can get corrugations in the middle of nowhere. You can get some of the craziest potholes that would just rip suspensions out of vehicles. But you know, I've been driving this at speed, a bit of those bumps, it takes everything in its stride. So, you know, really solid. And this W202 has taught me a lot, and as we go on, I love the car more and more, you know, as I care for it more, put in more parts in it. It's easy to exceed the value on these vehicles, but if you really love them and you keep going, you know, this is a rolling restoration, we'll eventually get there. It's not complete by any means, and there'll always be little bits that need to get done, but here's where we are for now. So here's where we are with the interior of this vehicle. You can see how nice the dashboard actually looks. You guys know I replaced this gear knob. It's been a pleasure to drive. I have finally ordered this piece of wood, and when it comes in, I'll do another video where I'm gonna get this installed by myself, of course, and I'm also gonna get these knobs replaced. I'm gonna stick them together, I'm gonna paint them up, and they're gonna be good to go. But still a few things to go with this car, but we have reached a good point, and this update is just to express, you know, it's driving really well. And in one of the next videos of the Benz Revival series, I will take you on a proper drive in this vehicle and see how it handles. So that's been it, guys. Another episode of Masai Gains on cars. If you enjoyed, I'd really appreciate if you hit like, subscribe, comment down below, let me know what you think. It's been another episode of the Benz Revival series, and many more to come as I take this vehicle to, you know, showroom pristine condition. That's the goal, and it's by no means easy, but we're just about marking 1 year since I started this restoration. So I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers. And here's just a quick check on how this engine is running.